Hi, we're Bill and Kathy.
Yeah, we are Bill and Kathy. How long have you known me, Bill?
I've known you since you were 9 years old, so that would put it back into the late 60s, middle 60s.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, we grew up together down the street from each other, actually. And so we've known each other our whole lives.
Her brother was my best friend in school.
And my brother dated his sister, and everybody thought they were going to get married, which didn't happen.
No.
What did happen?
Well, I moved to the other side of the continent, in
Western
a different
Canada,
country, and we both had our own lives. And time went through. We both got married. We both had kids.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'll tell my piece here.
Okay.
So, I was married to a wonderful man named Michael, and he had hemophilia and got infected with HIV through the medication that he took to control the bleeding. And this is before anybody knew anything about HIV being in the blood supply. So a lot of hemophiliacs got infected that way. And since nobody knew anything about it, there was nothing we could have done to change anything. So I ended up getting infected through my husband because he didn't know and I didn't know. And that was we found out that in late 1985. We already had, our daughter was already born at that point. And so we found out that him and I were both infected and our daughter was not infected. So that time frame was very scary because there wasn't a lot of stuff known and mostly people were just terrified of HIV. And I know that when I got that news, I thought my life was over because they told us that our lives were pretty much going to be over because everybody that they had seen who was HIV positive died very quickly. What was your connection with HIV?
Well, during the initial outbreak, I worked as a correctional officer in a facility in Canada, and I actually was tasked with rewriting the policies and procedures for infectious disease, which included HIV. So I had pretty much all the up-to-date information that there was, and I was pretty well informed on HIV. I had worked with some pretty bad cases,
So you weren't afraid of it?
No, I was informed. I was not afraid. I just knew at that time what was known, how it was transmitted, how it wasn't transmitted, so I had a leg up from what most people at that period of time had.
Yeah. And it was right around 1990, was it, that we came out to visit you?
Yep.
So my husband obviously was still alive at that time. My daughter was young, and we had just decided that we were going to go public because it was just after Ryan White passed away, April of 1990, and the Hemophilia Foundation of Michigan contacted my husband and I at the time and asked us if we would be willing to go public and talk about how important Ryan White was to the hemophilia community and what an impact he had made. So we decided that it was our turn to step up. So my husband said, yep, we're going to go public. So we did. And that's how my whole family found out. We hadn't told anybody prior to this. So that summer, we actually went out to visit Bill and his family because we wanted to go out to the Calgary Stampede. So it was out in Canada. And I remember...
She phoned me up,
yeah.
And we were making arrangements. She was going to stay with me. Her and her husband and child were going to stay with me. She says, by the way, I have to tell you, I have HIV. I says, okay, not a problem. And she says, that's AIDS. I says, yeah, I know. So it was not a major concern for me. So
well, because I wouldn't go and stay at somebody's house, without telling them, because, well, a lot of people didn't know a lot about it, and people were scared of it, so I wouldn't put somebody in that situation. So thankfully, of course, like I said, Bill knew me from when I was a kid and never looked at my husband or myself as, like lepers, like a lot of folks did. So he said, no, it's fine, you come and stay at my house, it's not a problem. So that was a big deal for me, because, as I said, other people, when they found out, were afraid and didn't want to touch you and didn't want to be around you anymore. I was very lucky. I have to say my family was all very supportive, of my husband and I. But it was a very difficult time. And Michael, my late husband, started having problems, symptoms. It was before there was any effective, medications, therapies available for HIV. And he was an amazingly intelligent man, really smart.
Very, very smart.
And he started having problems with not being able to, he was driving to work one day, and he told me about this when he came home, that he was driving to work, and then as he was in the middle of going to work, he didn't know where he was supposed to go. He forgot where he worked, and then he forgot how to get back home. And he said he pulled over on the side of the road and he just started sobbing because he couldn't remember. And that must have been terrifying for him to be all alone. So, of course, eventually he figured out where he had to be and whatever, and when he came home and he told me this, I was just petrified. So we went in and he had some, tests done, and they found out that he had a brain tumor. So it was lymphoma. He was diagnosed with lymphoma, and it spread from his brain through his entire body. And I think within 8 months, he went from a vital, strong, beautiful looking man to somebody who looked like he was 90 years old. Went down to like 85 pounds, and they had used radiation, on his brain, so he lost all of his hair, and it was just horrific to watch that happen to somebody that you care about and know that there's absolutely nothing that you could do about it. And the worst part of that was that my daughter had to live through that as well and watch that happening.
Not only was it the looks, it was also the mental decline.
Yeah, he just, you could tell it just really was really hard for him, because he was so used to being the smartest person in the room, so I just, that was a very difficult time. And so after he died, I felt that I would never ever be with anybody again, because who would want to be with somebody who had HIV? And that was at a time when most people were just terrified of it.
We started talking together a while after her husband died. Neither one of us were actually looking to get into a relationship, and one thing led to another.
We did email, remember?
Yeah, we emailed back and forth.
Yeah.
We also started using the first voice over IP application called FreeTel.
So we could talk.
Because
online.
we couldn't afford the phone bills.
Yeah.
One thing led to another, and we got married 18 years ago, and we've had some ups and downs since then with health issues, not only with just Kathy, but with myself.
Although you're not HIV positive.
That's correct. And,
it's been good.
It's been better than good.
Yeah. Life throws you curveballs, but if you can catch them and throw them back, that's really helpful. And we have been very, very blessed with the people in our lives, right?
Yep.
And we love each other very much.
Absolutely.
And accept each other
100%.
no matter what. Yeah. So that's our story.
At least the short version. Chapter 2 is coming.